the end of 2017, I went to India to do my yoga teacher training just to deepen my understanding of the practice with no real craving to be a yoga teacher. And here I am, having taught yoga for all that time. Now I run yoga teacher trainings, I run retreats all over the world, and I'm here to tell you 10 things that I wish I knew when I started that journey of doing my yoga teacher training and becoming a yoga teacher. So in this video, I'm going to run through every single one of those 10 in a little bit more detail so you can understand why they would have been so useful to me if I knew them way back when. I'm Angie, let's get straight into it. The first one is finding teachers that you can trust. Becoming a yoga teacher could feel really lonely, and I remember way back when I felt like I had so much to prove. Existing in the yoga industry, especially as a British Indian teacher, I felt there were a lot of issues and there were things that I was facing that I couldn't really speak to about anyone else. I couldn't really bring it to my students. I wanted to share it with other teachers. And there are definitely things that you share with your colleagues in the industry that you are in that no one else is really going to understand apart from your colleagues, because they're in that industry, they understand, they get it, they can be a shoulder to cry on, an ear to just listen, and they can make you feel more reassured that it's also something that they are experiencing. And when you become a yoga teacher, yes, you probably have done that in a group and you've got other people on your course that you've become friends with. But I found when I did my teacher training that actually 95% of people on there, myself included, had not gone to become a yoga teacher. We had gone to deepen our understanding of yoga because we had fallen in love with the practice and we wanted to know more about it. If you are in a course like that, sure, you'll stay in touch with people, but you're probably from all over the world as well, especially if you've gone somewhere to do the training. I went to India and we had people coming in from all over the world. I didn't have anyone in my close proximity community really to stay in touch with and talk through those things. When I found friends who were yoga teachers that I could trust, because I definitely have found some that I couldn't, that made everything a lot easier. It made me feel more reassured, it made me feel more connected, and it's been so nice over the years to collaborate with some of these teachers and do events together and bring guest teachers into my online yoga studio. I bring guest teachers into the retreats that I host in person. And that's been really, really beautiful as well. So you need industry friends, like you do, I think, in every industry, and the yoga industry is no different. Number 2 is setting boundaries on when to teach. If you teach at a yoga studio, you will know that yoga studio or even gym timetable is going to have a yoga class at times that you usually are eating. It's usually in the morning around breakfast time, lunchtime, and dinner time. And that is because those are the times when most people are not working. They can get to the class. And if that works for you, great. But what I notice about many yoga teachers, because I do yoga teacher trainings and I meet lots of yoga teachers on our retreats, they will always tell me that they are burnt out because they've said yes to so many classes. They don't have the time to eat before the class. They barely have time to eat after a class. And you need to fuel yourself if you're teaching a physical yoga practice, especially a strong practice, with water, with nutrients. Do the yoga, look after yourself, find unity within yourself, rather than really just going at it and burning out. Before you just blindly say yes, really look at your timetable and figure out what is going to work for you. Do not just say yes to everything because you need the practice to teach. Yes, you do need to get the practice and you need to experience teaching in person and looking at students and understanding bodies and understanding community and connection. But don't do it in such a way that means that you are going to burn out. Because trust me, I see so many yoga teachers experience burnout, and it is because they have not thought carefully about what classes they're saying yes to. That leads me pretty nicely on to number 3, which is eating and hydrating before and after every single class. When you're teaching yoga, you are going to be drained energetically. You'll also feel enriched energetically, but don't forget to nourish yourself. Even if you feel amazing after class, even if you feel pretty lively going into class, make sure you're taking care of yourself, eating healthy, fresh foods that are going to keep you going. This is important for everything we do in life, right? We want to make sure that we're fueled and we're healthy and we're keeping ourselves well. But when you are in a role like a yoga teacher, there is such a huge energy exchange. And if you don't keep your energy good and high and positive, trust me, your students are going to feel it. Energy is passed on so easily. Like, think about when you work in an organization and the culture is negative and everyone is bitching and there's one person that's just had a falling out with another colleague, and you walk into a room and you can feel that they've just had some sort of riff and you don't even know what happened, but you can just feel the tension. You can slice it with a knife. That kind of thing is easy to pick up on. We are animals. We are pack animals. We are tribe animals. We can feel the tension. So make sure that you're looking after yourself, because if you don't, your students will feel it, and that is going to impact what kind of class you teach and their experience of you and the practice they do. Number 4 is also about your students. They do not hate you. I fell into the big mistake of thinking I could read people's faces, and that if someone had a stink face and was looking at me and giving me evils in Chaturanga Dandasan, or like staring me down in their warrior 2, I was like, they hate me. They hate me. They hate this class. Should I now change what I teach because they hate the hating this? And what you need to know is that you cannot read. Okay, I'm someone with resting bitch face, and when I go to yoga classes, I probably look like I'm hating it, but I'm actually most of the time absolutely loving it and having the best time ever. And funnily enough, over the years of in my head thinking, oh my God, that person hates me, it's been that person who I've thought has hated me, who has come up to me at the end of class and said, thank you so much. I had such a profound experience. I really enjoyed this. I visualized that. I felt so cleansed and clear, da 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 da. Whatever it is they say, they absolutely loved it. And I'm like, oh my God, because I thought she hated me. So just know that your students will have the experience that they're going to have, and they don't hate you just because they're not smiling at you. Number 5 also links into this idea of pleasing everyone, and just know that you cannot please everyone. There'll be people who come to your class and they want some dynamic, energizing movement, and that's what they signed up for, and that's what they're feeling like in their bodies, and they're ready for it. There'll be others that come and they're just not really feeling it, and then they get into it and their body's feeling really stiff and they're just not enjoying it as much as they maybe want to. And that is not a reflection on you. It's a reflection on the energy that that person has come into your class. They're going to get what they need to get from the practice. They're going to leave the rest there. All you can do as a teacher is encourage your students to feel included, to provide enough options so that it's accessible for everybody, and to make them feel safe. And there's so many ways that you can do that. The language that you use, how you address people, the space and the environment that you create. So don't worry about creating a sequence that is going to tick the box for every single person, because some people might love it and some people might not, and that's okay. Silence is going to feel a lot longer to you than it feels to them. And it's such an important part of your class. A lot of the time as teachers, we feel we've got to fill every single space in the class. And over the years, I have definitely learned to be quiet. Allow the students to feel the silence of the space, maybe with music, maybe no music in the background. But that time where you're not speaking as a yoga teacher and you allow them to melt into a pose, or to feel into the connection of a breathing technique, or to go deeper in the meditation, those are the moments where they can take the practice, their own practice, their sadhana, a little bit deeper. Don't be afraid of the silence. Allow it. See how it feels. And because you think it's going to be longer than it is, whenever you feel the need to talk again, stay quiet for another 30 seconds. Take that as your test the next time you teach. Silent for an additional 30 seconds, and then open your mouth. Number 7, it does not matter if you mix up your lefts and rights. I used to find this so confusing, moving on the mat in the front of the class, left hand up, right foot back, left hand to the front, right foot. I mean, we're constantly cueing different poses, and it's so easy to get confused and get them mixed up. And it happens. So first off, know that it happens to every single teacher. In fitness, not just in yoga, but in the fitness industry, we have all made mistakes. It's how you respond. So can you be yogic in your response to yourself? Can you be compassionate, that concept of karuna? Can you be content with where you're at, the concept of santosha? And really apply yoga to your own teaching, because I promise you, when you do that, you're going to enjoy it a lot more. If you mix up your left and your rights, and you allow yourself to get really frustrated, to beat yourself up, to get annoyed, to get angry, again, like I said earlier, that energy is going to flow to your students. You're not going to be as satisfied with your class, and they're going to feel like you made a mistake and you got frustrated, and therefore they can't make a mistake. So have a little giggle about it. It's not so deep. It's not a big deal. Of course, try to not do it throughout your entire class, but Just be aware of when you do it. And then think about other ways that you could cue the leg or the hand without necessarily using your lefts and your rights. Because I know there's a lot of teachers that get confused with their lefts and rights just in daily life and are doing like this sign. Think about, for example, if you're in a lunge position and the high lunge has the right leg to the back and your left foot is at the front and your two arms are up above your head, the right leg is at the back. And instead of using left and right, you could say the back leg, the front leg, the back foot, the front foot. Things like that can sometimes help you not have to worry and do this, but feel in space where that leg is and refer to it as the back and refer to it as the front. Sometimes that helps some of the students that I mentor, so I thought I'd share that little snippet. Number 8 is to never assume somebody's ability based on their physical appearance. You literally cannot look at somebody who looks older to you, pregnant, in a bigger body, really slim, flexible looking, whatever that is, and make adjustments on them or suggestions to them based on what you see. Because trust me, I have seen people who look a lot older do poses that the people who look a lot younger can't do. My mum is an excellent example of that. My mum has got incredibly open hips. She can sit down on the floor. She can do Padmasana. Her knees are right down to the floor. There are people in class who are in their 20s who can't do those poses. Take out whether that makes someone good or bad at yoga. That's not what we're talking about here. But what we're talking about is you need to make sure you're not discriminating based on what you see. Now, I personally have done this in my head. I have thought, oh, that person might not be able to do that, and then they've proven me wrong. I've also had the experience of being heavily pregnant and having someone limit my ability based on the way that I look. And by the way, I was not trying to do anything that is not safe to do as a pregnant person, because I am also pregnancy yoga teacher trained, qualified, so I know what I could or couldn't do. But essentially, people will feel safer in class to explore their bodies if you encourage them to trust instinctually what they feel is possible or not. And of course, use props provided and you as the teacher to demo that. But never assume that you know best based on what they look like. It's, without you realizing it, it's discrimination. And we need to call that out so that we have more inclusive and accessible yoga spaces. Number 9, it's okay if you can't do all the poses. Over 7 years into teaching, there are still poses I can't do. And I know that to be true for so many yoga teachers. Yoga, remember, is so much more than just the poses, the shapes we make on our mat. It's so much deeper than that. And as yoga teachers, you can't be expected to know every single posture, every single breathing technique, every single meditation, every single yogic philosophical concept, because it's a centuries old practice and it's so incredibly vast. And I wish I knew that, because a lot of the time I felt like imposter syndrome, that I couldn't do this pose and therefore why would you want to learn from me if I couldn't do this? And that's really a product of the issues that we see in the yoga industry. It's presented in a way that can make so many of us feel excluded. And that's why I'm on a mission and do what I do to try and make everyone feel like they can take part in it, regardless of what anatomically their bodies can do or can not do. So don't beat yourself up if you can't do every single pose. It doesn't make you any lesser of a teacher. And actually it's great to have something to work towards, but also knowing that anatomically there's some things that might be more challenging for you than it is for others. And lastly, to be authentically you. So teach in the way that you want to teach in your style, teach in your way, instead of parroting what you think it means to look like, to be like, to sound like as a yoga teacher. And I 100% did this. I always say that I accidentally appropriated my own culture before realizing that yoga has been culturally appropriated in the West. And actually, I want to bring my culture and my roots into it, and I am not going to suppress them anymore. But at the beginning, for years, I did do this. And that's because I didn't want to be seen as kind of the weird Indian yoga teacher in the West that was doing this chanting and this kind of woo-woo stuff, because people didn't want that. People just want to move on their mats. But also, I thought, I need to teach what my students want, and I need to sound like that when I teach, and I need to be wearing this, and I need to look like this. And essentially, so many of us do that because we think that that's the way that it is and that's what we need to do to succeed. I've learned over the years that people love you as a person and they want to see that. They don't just want a mirror image and everyone teaching in exactly the same way. They want to connect with you on a deeper level. And the other thing I noticed is when I authentically show up as myself and I teach the way that I am, and people have come on my retreats and are on the online yoga studio and you've met me in person, you know what you see is what you get. I am like this in person, I am like this online. I am just being authentically myself now. And what that has done is it's made it a lot easier because there's no pretense, there's no showing up as somebody else, there's no trying to mirror how she does it or how he does it and use that language because that's what everyone does. I've brought what I want to bring to it, and I have made what I feel is missing in the yoga industry important and in the forefront of my practice and what I bring and what I teach people and how I teach people. Whether that's moving through the shapes we make on our mat, different poses, whether it's moving through pranayama breathing techniques or chanting mantras or holding particular mudras, I will always just bring my authentic self to it. And it's been so wonderful to go through that journey of imposter syndrome. I've got a parrot and teach in that way, nobody likes me, to just feeling fully empowered to be myself. And I think that's what every single yoga teacher should aim to do. Go through these 10 steps and unpick and unlearn what you have been doing and really try and show up as who you really want to be. So I hope this video helped. If you want to learn more, if you are a yoga teacher, then make sure that you look into my upcoming yoga teacher trainings. Most of them are online, so you can practice with us from anywhere you are in the world. You also, using the code YouTube, get 50% off my online yoga studio. This is over 350 classes, all led by Indian teachers, and you can practice from anywhere in the world, from the comfort of your own home, or of course, if you're on the go. Any questions, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you again very soon.